So this is Danae, and it's April 1st, and this is Message of the Month. So let's begin by using the breath to ground and focus. Imagine your spine extending down to the earth and setting a root down into the belly of Mother Earth. And if you tune in, you might even feel an activation in your spine right now. The energies are coming through for guidance tonight. You might be aware of an awareness or an activation in your spine, and let the tail of your spine come down into the earth so you're grounding. And then take one hand, place it on your heart, and breathe. One hand on your belly, and breathe. And just take this moment to soothe the body and ground and relax and settle for the 1 hour ride ahead. So thank you, Great Spirit, Mother, Father, God, for the opportunity to bring forth Message of the Month. I give thanks for this opportunity, and we are here to receive the instruction and guidance and offerings for the month of April so that we can work with these energies successfully in this month ahead. And everyone just breathe and relax and go receptive. Good. And everyone is invited to really stay with yourself tonight. If you notice your energy leaning forward in your body, just, rest back and totally relax and just really be into your own skin right now. Congratulations all on riding the fierce winds of March. Many psychic waves rolling through, many anchors being pulled up and new anchors being put down. Much energy had to be cleared to create renewal as the world is turning toward the time of spring birth in some areas of the world. And so there needed to be a cleansing and a grounding out of the dream time through the winter months and the springing forth of the new life ahead in the month of April. So throughout this experience, you're invited to continue to breathe deeply and slowly and feel the tripod of energy from your 2 feet and the center of your spine going down to the earth. And continue to reference this throughout the time that we're together. This evening is about bringing through a energetic to ground and assist in cultivating and growing these energies that are the truest for everybody now, and then harvesting them toward September. So this is about planting the seeds of what would be your personal heaven. In the month ahead, your intention is pivotal to everything. Whatever you do, whatever you engage, your heartfelt and fully awake intention for what you're doing, the purpose behind it, is very necessary. Intention helps to sculpt and direct and focus the flow of creative life force. Intention paves the way and puts up the boundaries and sets the borders for the creative life force to have a direction that is specific. Now, for some people, specific direction means it is intellectual and cognized and understood. Well, I'm writing a book and I'm going to spend this many days doing it from these hours to these hours. Is very structured. For other people, the clear intention is a felt sense. So work like borrowing from Cindy Tevens, Coming to Your Senses, where you are opening your eyes to look through the peripheral vision, using the other portions of that work that we've talked about, is another way to anchor the energy in your body with the intention of, how do you feel? So each time you find yourself thinking about what you want your life to be like, what you wish to see unfold, catch yourself doing that and go ahead and stop. Because what's happening there is your intention is moving into futuristic thinking, and that future is never going to come. I just saw a movie recently, and in it was a line from a motivational speaker who said there are 7 days in the week and none of them are named someday. And when I watched that, I thought I have to borrow that and make sure I remember to share that at the next monthly channeling. So that is the energy we're engaging, is the energy of cultivation. So intention, clear focus, whether it's mental understanding and clarity around your purpose and your direction, or whether it's a felt sense, embodying it in the now, as if it exists now. Either way, that is going to magnetize the people, circumstances, and conditions and locations and energetics for everyone to bring forth what it is they're intending on experiencing for the rest of the year. So April is the month of bringing that new energy forward to marry to the intention and to the focus. So let's, again, return awareness to the body, the tripod stance into the belly of Mother Earth, and now feeling the energetics coming through your spine, extending down into the earth. Go ahead and start to feel a ray opening from your heart chakra up through the crown, through the pineal gland, up through the crown, opening skyward, opening to the North Wisdom Star. You know, your guiding star. Martha Beck has wonderful work on this, on your North Star. So we want to anchor upwards now, keeping the earth anchor there as well. We're opening now to run energy through us. So as you're breathing and receiving and hearing this channeling, also be sure to have contact in your skin and with your breath. Keep your focus 100% on yourself, with yourself, and be in a receptive mode. You're here to receive. And this is true for everybody, whether you're seeing this on YouTube or hearing it on an audio file later. Same application. You're hearing it now, so do the exercises now. And now reaching your intention to the highest frequency, the highest vibration that you can touch into, and touching into the mind of God. Whatever that is for you, maybe it's spirit, higher self, whatever that magnificent, loving, omnipresent power is for you, an aspect of self, tap into that. And I'm just going to say we touch and agree with the mind of God that is one mind, already knowing the perfect unfolding of each and every one of our lives and the hows and the details. And we don't need to know that up front. We don't need to figure it out, because the Spirit is so giving and so full and so rich and so abundant that it is just laid before us. And that is how it happens. And so we just give thanks now, because we know that we are perfectly led, and Infinite Spirit is never too late, and God is always on time, and we're in a state of celebration now because we know that the unfolding is for our highest good. The universe is for us, for our thriving lives, and that's what we're working with this year, is the thriving life. And so we just say thank you, and so be it. So it is done, it is done, it is done. So now taking a deep breath, feeling that channel open in you from the highest point of your spirit consciousness, illuminated consciousness, out the top of your crown, to the deepest plug in, the deepest root into the belly of Mother Earth, and feel these energies running along your spine, through your pineal gland. For women, down in your womb center. This is the creative center where we not only create babies, we actually birth energy. And for men who like to work with their masculine womb, same thing. Let this energy swirl between the pubic bone and the navel. And let's just take a moment to breathe into that. The energy that's going to carry everybody with the greatest ease is an energy of repose. What's meant by repose is a posture of relaxation and receptivity. So when we find our nervous system starting to amp up, when we find ourselves pushing hard, trying to fit too much in at once, feeling amped up, tense about getting something done, a little bit snappy with people. It won't be as much as it was in March. The energies are much gentler. But to be aware when this is coming up, and to let it, just let it go. Feel yourself opening your heart and just let it go. And relax. You're here to receive. We're all here to receive. So an energy, a mental position that's very powerful that helps us be curious is curiosity. When we get curious about what we're seeing, what we're sensing, what we're feeling, when we get curious about how something's going to work out. Let's say you have something that looks like a challenge or a problem ahead of you, and your mind is trying to figure it out, and you just turn to Spirit and say, thank you, Spirit, for handling this, because I know the perfect unfolding is already finding its way to me, and I give thanks for that now. That's all we really need to do. And at the same time, to feel the embodiment of the result. So what would it feel like if you had the result you had? Would you be fulfilled? Would you be at ease? Would you be joyful? Would you be, elated? Would you be, just feeling settled? What would the feeling be if you had the result you wanted in the now? How would it feel? How does it feel having instead of wanting? Again, to borrow the work of Cindy Tevens. How does it feel having what you want instead of wanting what you want? Let's take a moment now to practice that, because this is the main practice for April, is practicing that sensation. So right now, as you're listening, close your eyes, take some deep breaths, feel this beautiful flow of energy from your crown, high above your crown, through your body down into the center of the earth, and ask your heart right now about one thing that's in your awareness, one thing you're wondering about or you're curious about, you have questions about. Ask your heart for one thing. What is the feeling your heart and body would like to feel if you had the result you wanted? What is that feeling? Go ahead and ask now, and let it come either through an impression answer, a thought in your mind, or through the sensation, giving you the direct experience of that having right now, and let it come. If you're given a word or an understanding, then see what that feels like to feel that now. And this is the practice we'll be doing through the month of April. Good. And now we're going to bring it to another level. There's another level of growth that we're being invited into, and that is to think much, much bigger than what you're used to thinking. There are times where we are working with our vision to bring about, the next level of our lives, and we're actually still thinking small, because that's the habit. We've come from the habit of limited gifting to ourselves, limited permission. So April is about really going big with the vision. Go as big as you know to go, and then ask your guidance to show you the even bigger version of it. Ask for your intuition to kick in and help you out, and to be shown the whole other level of what this is that you're opening up to in April, and to let that come forward, to let that be bigger. Give you an example, because I find when I'm working with all of you, tangible examples are helpful. I will be in California giving workshops and private sessions from April 28th through May 21st. And when this teaching tour first started shaping itself, my mind was thinking, well, I'll go for 10 days or a couple of weeks, and I'll just stick around Cambria. And my person was very comfortable with that idea. That seemed manageable to me, and I didn't have to travel too much, and it wasn't too big an area. And my guide stepped in and said, that's really limited how you're thinking about going to California. Can we show you a different level of version? And so now I'm booked at the New Life Expo in the San Francisco area, and then doing about 10 days in Cambria, and then Arroyo Grande, Shell Beach, and then Morro Bay. So I'm going to be out there for almost a month, and my personality didn't have room for that sort of guidance at the moment when my mind was thinking it knew what it was doing. And so it's much more expanded, and it's a beautiful vision, and it's incredible. The programs are things that are brand new things to teach. It's pretty amazing. So I'm very, very excited about that. Well, on the personality level, I wasn't ready to hear all that. So the reason I invite you to check in with your intuition and your guidance is because our guidance level has so much more of a complete picture than our personalities can reach toward. Again, because we tend to operate from our past history experiences, and we tend to create a bigger world but from a smaller vision. And so we don't actually know how big the vision can be. So it's beautiful to turn to your intuition and your guidance and to ask for that level of version of what it is you're reaching for. So it might, I don't know if that'll work right now, but for those of you who feel motivated or feel like trying it out, you could take a moment now to go ahead and ask your guidance, what's the bigger version of this dream I've put together? What's the fuller picture? And I'm going to count us into that with some breaths. So taking slow, deep breaths now. Slowing down even more and grounding the energy, feeling this beautiful extension of the higher energies coming in through your crown, pineal gland, down the spine, that tripod going down into the earth and grounding into the mother. And go ahead and relax, be receptive and open up, and know that you cannot fail. Know that whatever you intend, whatever your heart is truly a yes for, you can have it. You literally can have it. The unfolding of it, that wisdom comes from Spirit's unfolding. We don't need to know the how and when of having it. We simply need to invite that is so. And right now, we're going to invite our guidance to introduce the next layer of vision, and that will either come through sensation or through guidance, images, words. Just see how that comes. Breathing slowly and deeply. Opening your heart, relaxing your mind, and just seeing in this beautiful flow, let your intention be to receive an insight, a feeling, an aha about the bigger version that you haven't tuned into for yourself. And we'll take a moment or two of silence here while everyone does this. So making note of what you have sensed or received in your guidance and tucking that away for later to return to that and get curious about it and ask about it and see, let that get flushed out, see what comes as you tune in with that a little more. Okay, good. I'm going to take a breath. One hand on the heart, if possible, the other hand on the belly. We're going to have a little discussion about the fact that your internal coach, your guide, your guides, your guidance system is always there for you all the time. Now, the sacred self is a very big topic that Spirit has brought to me lately. And the sacred self, we're learning about putting the sacred self first. The sacred self is that again, if you will, God consciousness or guidance level consciousness. It's where you go when you tap in and you surrender and you ask Spirit for, insight. It's where you go when you meditate. It's the place of the wide open heart, the feeling of being deeply carried and cared for and loved and encouraged, the place where the well of courage comes from, and the stuff that deepens your trust in your sense of things. This is the sacred self. It's our divine nature. We're all born with it. Everybody has it, and everyone has access to this as a guidance system. It's our God-given, birthright. So everyone has access to this guidance system, and the sacred self is the terminology that Spirit has given me lately to discuss this and teach about it. When we put the sacred self first, we are aligning our aliveness, our consciousness, our energy, our day to that which is of the sacred self. The wisdom, the clarity, the best for us. It's like an inner coach that just absolutely knows us inside out and absolutely knows what is the best for us every moment, all day long on that day. When we wake up and sit up, breathe, ground, meditate, and connect with the sacred self first and make a commitment to connect with the sacred self first, it dynamically changes our lives. And I've seen this in my own life when I do this each morning and I say to Spirit, I expect miracles today. I expect demonstrations of miracles. I expect to live in a state of glory. And I expect to be a channel and an instrument for the works of love in this world, however big a scale they want to go to or however humble and small. Doesn't matter. That's my intention. And every day when I start my day like that, it is a miraculous day. There are little miracles all day long, and little miracles are a very normal, natural part of a day set in motion by making a commitment to connect with your sacred self first. And so this is available to everybody. Setting up your day with the sacred self first also creates a momentum and a rhythm. So it's like you're starting your day from a different place, a different orientation. You're already lifted up because you're walking with the Spirit all day long. And I don't mean that in a religious way. I know I've said God and Spirit a lot, but I don't mean to be heavy on those words. It's just what's coming forth right now. It's the guidance system. It's the living spirit of the coach within you. And when you set yourself up to live your day that way, there's a desire, a natural inclination to want to check in. Maybe mid-morning or maybe at lunch break or something. Just kind of remember the sacred self is there with you, guiding you all day long and you listening. Another example for me, when I have a really heavy load of stuff to do on that's technical for my business, I take that heavy sigh because I don't love doing that stuff at all. And I remember my sacred self, and I let it go, and I say, okay, sacred self, show me what is the clearest, cleanest, swiftest way to work with all this material for the shortest term of having to focus on technical things and the greatest result. And I turn it over to my sacred self, and I listen for guidance to direct me in what to do. It always works all the time. No matter what your situation is, it could be a day of pure poetry where everything is just mind-blowingly beautiful and, hooray, that's great. Still turn to your sacred self and give gratitude and notice all the miracles and acknowledge them. If you're in a place where you're having challenge in a relationship or with health or business or you're just feeling off, maybe you didn't sleep well, whatever it is, that might present the appearance of a challenge or a problem, turn to your sacred self. And remember, first of all, there are no problems. We assign meaning to everything. We assign meaning to every single moment in our lives. The meaning we give it is the meaning we get. That's the experience we have. So the sacred self has a way of perceiving that's pure. It's just unconditional presence. There's not an ego identity caught up in this part. There's just pure beingness. It's the pure actuality of life in the moment, and that's based in love, the living vitality of love. So when you turn your attention back to the sacred self, you start perceiving through that lens, and no matter what is before you that has appeared as a challenge, you are suddenly carried and escorted right through it. And it's literal. There are many clients have told me that when they do this practice and they surrender, literally words start pouring out of their mouths. It's just so crystal clear and clean. They're blown away that they could be that at ease in a situation that has been such a challenge for so long. They feel clean and clear inside. Their hearts are open and they feel safe. This is the gift of the sacred self. So in April, we want to really establish a relationship with the sacred self and nurture it. We want this to grow. We want it to blossom. It's one of the main gifts that we could tap into and to live our lives from there. And obviously, this is something that I'm very passionate about. I teach this. I do this 24/7. I've been at it for 27 years, and I have a strong muscle in this department. That's why I'm teaching it. And I'm very strongly encouraging you to really, really trust that you as well have a very growable muscle. This is a learnable skill, and all you have to do is apply it. And doing this every day, you get stronger and stronger at it until you are just simply living a life that feels like you are being carried and escorted, just riding right along in your dreams. And it's very beautiful. So let's take a pause and breathe. Good. You just let all that settle. Good. So taking a pause and breathing, we're letting that portion settle. And this is portion number 2 of Message of the Month on April 1st for the month of April. So what we have so far in recapping is that we know that we have a sacred self to make a commitment to put the sacred self first in our lives, and everything else flows from there. We know that the energy, the focus of intention is very powerful for us in the month of April. Everything that we do that we have intention behind will just be amplified in its powerful effect in our lives and in the world. And we know that we're planting seeds and growing our visions and dreams in a very organic way to harvest in the fall. And we're staying connected right now in an energetic where the crown chakra is open and the root chakra is open, and we're aligning this living energy through the spine, sending an antenna out the top of the head and drawing down this light and love from the highest frequency you can reach, and then grounding down into the Mother Earth like a tripod, sending roots down between the 2 feet and down through the spine. Beautiful. And let's just run that energy for a moment as we remain receptive and relaxed, which is our poem for April, receptive, relaxed, and requesting miracles, being with our sacred self first and always throughout the day. Yes, so you've begun your day with the sacred self, committing to that first and then checking in along the way throughout the day. And at the end of the day, when it's time to go to sleep, actually build in the time to have a gratitude meditation. Build in the time to give thanks and review all the miracles, all the little moments you were carried through the day. It's a beautiful way to fall asleep, is to review the wonderments of the day, and to give thanks for those things that felt like a snag. This doesn't mean you won't have buttons pushed. It means that how you are in relationship to having your buttons pushed makes the difference. So another example, I might get really fired up about something, and I notice that I'm really fired up, and instead of believing in the reaction, I can turn to my sacred self and say, sacred self, I notice I'm really activated here, and there's a flavor of anger that wants to come up. What is this about? I don't need to suppress the feelings, but I don't need to let them take me and run me down the road. I ask sacred self, what is this really about? What's really happening for me here? What do I need to learn from this? What do I need to know? And then I get my guidance on that. And this is how you can apply the sacred self. Good, so taking a deep breath and relaxing. And letting that absorb. Beautiful. So I am now going to open the channels here to all of you, but before we do that, I mean that in a technical way. Before we do that, let's see if there's anything more here that we need from guidance. What I'm hearing is the energy of worry is really so unnecessary anymore. It doesn't really need to be something to engage, because worry is just an idea and a thought, and when it is assigned meaning, then we take worry seriously as if it's something outside of us. So to let worry go for the month of April, and each time that worry comes up, is to really check it out, get curious about it. What am I worrying about? I must have some thinking going on that's throwing me off, because I'm the only authority that assigns meaning to anything in my world. And if I'm worrying about something, then I'm thinking something that's causing the worry. So what am I thinking? And get curious about it and check out your thoughts. And once again, take a breath, come back to the sacred spirit and ask, I have these perceptions going on that are causing me tension and worry. How can I view this differently? And just see what comes of that. Okay, so this is unusual, but I'm going to ask LaDawn and Nancy and Lauren to unmute your phones if you're muted, and that's done with a *6. And we've never done this before on a message of the month, and yet this is how Spirit's moving me right now. We're going to take one question from each of you, if you have a question, that could be for the highest good for everyone everywhere that's listening, maybe something that's important to you, and typically if something is important to one person, that's important to everybody, or if you have a general question. So let's just see who comes forward first. It's fine if you interrupt each other. That happens on these kinds of calls. So does anyone have a question for the guidance that we're visiting with this evening?
I guess my question is, this is Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
What happens to me is I'll be fine 1 minute, and then all of a sudden, it must be my nervous system goes crazy. Like I just get really anxious. Sometimes it'll feel like really severe pain in my heart. And I used to try to do things with my mind to fix it. Well, that never really works. And so in those moments when something like that is happening, it's hard for me to get any clear message about what am I thinking or what am,
Mm-hmm.
So
all of your attention is going into the sensation, right?
Yes, it can be overwhelming. I work with children, and so I can just be fine 1 minute, and a kid will walk in my office, and I'm just kind of really I call it discombobulated, but it's much more uncomfortable than that.
And does this happen when you're alone sometimes too?
Yeah, I can be at home. It happens a lot when I'm in my kitchen. I can be in my kitchen or something, or somewhere in my house. It'll happen.
So this is interesting. Let's tune in for a moment and see what comes of that. So first, there'll be an answer in general for everyone's benefit, and then, a little bit specific for you, if that's okay with you.
Yes, that would be great. Thank you.
Great. Yeah. So, the veils are very thin for those who believe in energy systems and second skins and things like that. The veils are very thin in in the realm of the psychic, I guess one would say. Where there's more instantaneous, simultaneous knowing of everything at once, but not necessarily on a conscious level for anyone who's been a Star Trek person, it's like the experience of the Borg, simultaneous knowledge. And so that's happening more and more on this planet, and it's part of the evolution of the consciousness of Earth itself. And so as that's happening, we are extensions of that consciousness. It's happening within our matrices as well. So more and more there's this boom, suddenly there's boom, you're plugged into something that's part of the collective, and then your attention shifts back to what seems to be your own singular self. So that's happening for a lot of people. There's nothing to be afraid about there. Again, curiosity is a wonderful position to put your mind in and to get curious about it and to go into that, wide-eyed and full breath posture so that you open your centers, open your energy centers. And this is useful for everybody. People are more and more empathic these days as well, sensitives, and picking up a lot of the energy that's going on in the collective unconscious. So that's happening for a lot of you that are listening right now. And, always when you're distracted by sensation and sensation becomes strong, don't resist it. Get curious about it and just breathe. If you can't get cognition, if you can't get guidance back in images or thoughts or, spoken word, just breathe. Slow and deep, but take an attitude of curiosity and choose to join with the sensations. When we join with sensations in the body, we can merge with them. It's almost like if you have a headache and you try to find the center of the headache, you actually can't. If you try and find the center of a throbbing pain, you actually can't. When we join with the sensations, then we become one with it, and we're no longer separate from it, so there's no resistance, and so it tends to just flow right through us more often than not. So everyone can practice that. Nancy, for you specifically, and I believe you already know this about yourself, you're quite the empath.
Yeah.
You're like, it's almost like you have no skin. You're quite the empath. So when you are around other people, and you described before a child walks into your office and all of a sudden you're just combobulated, that's not you. That's the child. You're having an instant empathic, kinesthetic experience of what is happening in that child.
Yeah, it doesn't, well, I guess because I'm trying to resist it because it feels icky sometimes, really icky.
Yeah, so for someone like yourself, and this would be true for anyone else listening, what you need to explore, if it's of interest to you, is energy boundaries. I'm learning a mastery around energy boundaries and how to set that up and how to work with that. So that's something you might want to be looking into. And that's important. Energy boundaries are really important, and we can work on that too, of course, together. There are lots of lovely practices about energy boundaries and how to work with those. So for you, you're sensitive, you're empathic. Even when you're alone, it's like you're moving through swirling energy. 1 minute you're balanced in homeostasis and equanimity, and the next minute your nervous system is supercharged and your heart rate goes up, and there's some, a little bit of anxiety. And there is some breath, slow, deep, connected breathing to slow everything down. It's almost like you suddenly step into warp speed. Like you could probably feel an earthquake coming before it came, or something to happen in the world somewhere major before it happened. So for you, really use your breath to ground and slow everything down and merge with the experience and get curious about it, but slow it down. Slow the breath down, and that will bring forth the relaxation response, especially if you're breathing slowly and deeply through your nose or mouth, breathing between the navel and the pubic bone. You don't want to breathe up in your chest because that's a fight or flight response. And, just really work with that. I'm going to keep it short for now because we're on a group call.
Yeah,
there's more to
thank
be said.
you.
And
I
hopefully that was good.
Yeah, thank you, and I like the curiosity part.
Yeah,
because
curiosity.
I want to push it away. Really, I don't want this.
Get curious. Getting curious creates space. It creates space. And you're probably being called to a new level of service, and the sooner you stop resisting, the faster that clarity of what that is can come to you as well. So
thank you so much.
You're welcome. My pleasure. And so let's see if Lauren or LaDawn have a question. It's
yes,
okay if you don't.
Lauren.
We're just opening the lines. Go ahead, LaDawn.
Oh, Lauren, go ahead.
Okay.
Okay. Whoever,
Yes,
whichever.
Okay.
Hi.
My question is, I am stuck between two very strong personalities in my life. They're both very important people to me, and they can't stand each other. And what I tend to do is get stuck in the middle and shut down, and it just starts eating me up inside. And I'm wondering, how can I use this connection with the sacred self to find my voice and to find peace?
Beautiful question. And for anybody who finds himself in a triangulation, this is very painful. It's very, very painful to the human emotional body. So first of all, this is, I'm almost afraid to say it because then everyone in the world will hear it and then I won't know, I feel responsible to share this tool. So I think I'll not share that tool. You can contact me later, Lauren, for that particular tool. Meditation, first and foremost, meditation in the morning to the sacred self. And this is for everyone. Whatever you wake up with, that you notice you're concerned about, whatever it is, bless it immediately. Spirit, I bless this situation and this circumstance. This is a painful one for me. This is challenging. I actually don't know how to handle it. I don't want to be in this position anymore. I bless it. And I know that the perfect unfolding is already coming because I've asked for it and I've blessed it. Show me my way through this. Sacred Self, you hold the knowledge. You carry and escort me through everything seamlessly and by perfect grace. Show me. Channel it to me. Intuit it to me. Show me. Give me the experience of it now in my meditation. Show me how to move through this. And this is useful for everyone in triangulated situations or relationship challenges. For anyone interested in what the tool is that I'm not going to talk about here, feel free to email me.
And how come you can't talk about it now?
Well, it's a very powerful tool, and as a spiritual mentor, I'm responsible for sharing something that is that powerful. And since I have no idea who will be tuning into this and, sort of how they operate in the world, it's important that I hold integrity for this kind of a tool.
Understand.
So those who are working with me, I know will handle this tool well. Those who are not, I don't know them. And so it just feels like to be honorable when we're sharing things that are very powerful that work with spirit beautifully. So, Lauren, for you in particular, I would... what I'm seeing is for you to, when you're in meditation, is to call each of these people to you in your meditation and to have them there together at the same time and honestly express your suffering. Like really share your voice, really speak your truth, really let these beings know that this is painful for you and that it's ripping you in half and you can no longer do it, and that you'll soon be stepping out of that position because you have to for your own well-being. And in order to do that, it means you need to have the courage to let everything fall where it does and not caretake it. And this is part of your learning boundaries. This is part of the caretaking behavior that has been a bit of a challenge and a struggle for you in being able to put yourself first. So when you put your sacred self first, you're making a commitment that your sacred self comes first. Your health, your well-being, your devotion to walking with Spirit hand in hand all the time and absolutely trusting that Spirit is there to handle everything else. You don't have to take care of it. So your connecting with your sacred self will hopefully help to give you the courage to really trust that that's true and let it go. On the physical plane, it seems like it would be a good idea for you to take each person one by one and tell them your truth. Just very purely, very beautifully, with tremendous love, tell them your truth. It's very painful for me to keep being in this situation and I can no longer handle it and I choose not to handle it and I'm going to let the chips fall where they may and I am no longer going to navigate this between the two of you and I'm stepping out. And that is a very powerful and courageous thing for you to do. It is also an act of love for yourself and for these other two that you feel are having a power struggle and a personality snit with each other. It's actually their business to work out. And I would almost say energetically there's a little bit of a hang-up with you stepping into the middle of it. It's deterring them from completing what they need to do with each other, actually. That's how it's appearing to me from the guidance that I'm receiving right now. So maybe meditate on that and be with that and see where that takes you as you sit back with it. Again, when I offer guidance, it's an offering. It's always up to the person to connect with their own guidance and their own higher self and take what I've offered and see how it sits with them and make their own decision of authority from within as to what's right and true for them. So that's the offering for you around that, Lauren, for tonight.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. LaDawn, do you have a question?
Oh, I can't really think of a good question. Lauren's question was really good and relevant too.
And that's okay if not. Sometimes some people's questions speak for other people's questions.
Yeah, really helpful.
Okay, good, great, beautiful. So then we're going to spend these next few minutes just closing the energy and grounding it down. So everyone, again, tuning in now to that beautiful stream of light out the top of the head to this highest point of love, vibration, frequency, and then the tripod down into the earth with feet and tailbone. One hand on the belly if possible, one hand on the heart, and breathing deeply, feeling the love that you are, and inviting your sacred self to step forward right now. Inviting the sacred self to step in the front position and to hold the space for you as you journey on through this night and through the month of April. And we'll do closing here. We thank you, Great Spirit, Mother, Father, God, for the opportunity to know ourselves this intimately and to trust that love is the most powerful thing and we're safe and okay if we stop caretaking everybody. It's a particular thing that women do in particular. I don't mean to be sexist or judgmental. I simply notice, at least in my clientele, usually it's the women that show up with this issue, and rarely it's the men. And that's not saying men don't care. It's I think it's part of our maternal instincts to caretake. But there's a difference between taking good care and caretaking behavior. One is healthy, one is codependent and not healthy. And we all do it in our own ways. So it's just something to continue to bless and heal within ourselves. So to close the energy, we're going to slowly use the breath and the intention and focus to now harvest all the gifts from this way high North Star and deep in the belly of the mother and start to pull that antenna in and pull those roots in, bringing through the nurturing and the nourishment gifted to us from high above and way below, Father Sky, Mother Earth, and drinking all that into your spine. And when your antenna is back in at the crown and the root is up back at the base of your spine, go ahead and seal those areas, just intentionally closing the door on those areas and containing this energy. And you're invited to make good use of this energy through the month of April for fostering your dreams and feeling the reality of them and feeling safe and worry not, and be curious and expand your consciousness and let your sacred self show you the bigger dream and to have fun. April really is about lightening up and having fun and playing a lot. Move your body, go dancing, play music, sing, do whatever it is that really brings laughter to your soul. April is really about regeneration and renewal. And so we just know that that's the perfect way to have our April and that it unfolds exactly that way, and we give thanks. And so we'll officially close the message of the month for April, and we'll see you all